Fuck you.
Hey, maybe Batman v Superman wasn't so bad after all.
Oh, it was bad. It wasn't this bad. This movie was just plain fucking offensive.
Hang on, it ends the same way that the other one did.
With the same song.
With the same song, the title song, and the text everyone you know, enlisting court case. So, I guess I gotta do what the movie says.
What's that?
Well, I'm not gonna text everyone I know, but I am at least texting Lewis.
Oh, telling him the God's not dead. He's surely alive.
Shit, I just hit send. I forgot to add he's surely alive. Now he's not gonna know what I'm talking about.
Send it in a second text. It's 2 separate lines.
So God's not dead too. Is
one of the most dangerous and offensive propaganda films I've seen since, I don't know, ever.
I don't know if this movie is...
Movies made by the Nazi Party were less fucking dangerous than this.
I don't know if this movie is dangerous because this movie is not going to change anyone's mind.
No.
It's not going to convert anyone. This is a movie that, like a lot of these pure flicks movies, especially like the first one, in that it's not loving, it's not even Christian. It's just there to reinforce whatever biases, whatever ignorance, and prejudices that its audience has,
and hide it behind the veil of victimization.
That's it. It is to make it is for this specific audience to feel persecuted, to feel like victims, and I think that the first one was probably... I just watched the first one a week ago. While I think that the first one was probably an angrier, more hateful film, this one is a lot more ignorant and dumber.
And purely based on the setting, because they made this one a courtroom drama.
Oh, but still with like 50 subplots, like the first... Oh, Lewis wrote back. 2, in fact. That bad, huh? Obviously not. It inspired me to text you.
Give me Lewis's number. I'll text him.
Oh, yeah, on camera. I'm gonna... Well, here it is. Lewis is gonna get a lot more texts throughout the night.
That would be amazing. Everybody hit up Lewis on fucking Twitter.
So, this movie does have... Right? This movie does... I'm sorry, Lewis. This movie does have...
Don't do that. Leave poor Lewis alone.
It does have some characters from the first one in it. The former liberal blogger is fine. Like,
she prayed her cancer away.
She did, and not only that, is still really close with the Newsboys. This is taking place like 3 months after the first one, and so she's in remission, and she's still, like, she calls the Newsboys. They're still like super, super close. But now that so her plot is that now that she's healed, she's questioning her faith again, but that doesn't really go. And she's... By the end of it, yeah, she's a believer again by the end of it. The Chinese student is in it again, who has a bunch more questions about Christianity, and in my favorite scene in the movie, in which his dad shows up, they actually are on screen together in this one, so I don't know if they're speaking 2 different languages in this movie or not, like they were in the first one when they were just by phone, but his dad is so mad that his son is now a Christian that it's the jazz singer, like, I have no son moment. Like, he just straight up slaps him and literally says, like, my son...
You are no longer my son.
You are no longer my son. Oh. The more I think about it, this is the best comedy of the year.
Oh my god.
Reverend David A.R. White, of course, in this movie. And every time I see David A.R. White and his priest friend from the first one, the African dude, he's in this one again too. Whenever I see him on screen in this, I want there to so bad be just a movie about his shenanigans. Like, it opens up with him. He's clumsy in this one. He really wasn't in the first one, but in this one, he's like spilling coffee on himself and shit like that. And like the first one, he's the fucking car dealer from the rental car dealer from the first one is in this one again. Like, he goes, it's like, don't I know you from somewhere? Like, oh, didn't you deliver us that car? Oh yeah, like, I'd like you to know I'm still doing my dinner theater. Like, oh, wow, all the loose ends are really being tied up in this film.
Yeah.
Fucking when David A.R. White is on the jury in the trial for this, and he has to leave at one point because, like, his fucking appendix burst. David A.R. White is one of the greatest things to ever happen to bad movies. Ever.
Oh my god.
Oh, God. So, where did he even begin with this? So, okay.
With all the falsehoods and lies, like proving to the course of a court case that Jesus really lived. They prove
none of this matters in this case. The case in the movie is that Melissa Joan Hart plays a Christian history teacher at a high school, and one of the students asks her a question about Jesus, and she answers it, and so she's in trouble for this.
Although it never shows who gets her in trouble or how.
There was a student who was texting somebody about it, and then word got back to the girl's parents, and so this is going. They basically make her an offer to say, like, recant what you said and apologize, and whatever, it'll be fine, it'll go away, just don't do this again. And she refuses to apologize, so it goes to court. Okay. I mean, you could probably argue whether or not whatever she was doing was preaching, like it kind of went in that direction, but I mean, she was answering a question. You could maybe see that as sort of like this kind of gray area in this situation and maybe make something about a discussion of that, but this is God's Not Dead 2. It doesn't do that. So the villains in this movie are Ray Wise playing this role as a fucking vampire.
He was kind of fantastic.
Oh,
Just
totally.
constantly licking his lips and smiling.
It's like how great Sorbo was in the first movie. Ray Wise, easily the best part of this movie. So, Ray Wise...
I just kept waiting for him to tear off his paper skin and be the lizard person he was acting he was.
Yeah! Oh, totally. Or just be like a straight up serial killer, because he is just going like throughout this film. And he's talking to the girl's parents, and he just straight up says, like, we're gonna take this to court, and we're gonna prove that God is dead.
Oh, also, allow me to say, he is not just the parents' lawyer. He's not their lawyer.
No.
He is a representative of the American Civil Liberties Union. He's a lawyer for the ACLU.
The ACLU is the bad guys in this.
The ACLU is apparently the bad guy in this. I'm trying to figure out why and how. The ACLU that has represented the Klan in free speech cases is the villains in this free speech case.
Because this audience looks at them as villains.
Yeah, because the ACLU, in a lot of other cases, represents everything they don't like. Like the truth and the law.
This movie's not about that, though. This movie, this movie is speaking to a very, very dumb audience. So it becomes this cartoon. Like this should be probably one of the simplest cases that ever came to this court. But instead, it turns into the defense trying to say that all faith is in question here. Like, they are trying to destroy people practicing Christianity. They're at war with us, this ACLU, and everyone in the world is out to get them. Like, if we lose this case, then that is synonymous with you cannot practice your religion anywhere. And they even go as far as to try to say in their defense, like, one of their defense strategies is to, because this is a history class, trying to prove that Jesus was indeed a historical figure.
Which they successfully do.
By bringing up, like, two witnesses who were
biased bullshit witnesses.
Yeah.
That all their proof that they have is from the Bible.
But none of that should matter in this. There are there are plenty of religions, most of them, that are based on historical figures, people who existed. That doesn't matter here.
Yeah.
It is still, at the end of the day, religion. But this is a movie that fucking Mike Huckabee has a cameo in this, he's on a panel where they say Jesus was a historical figure, so obviously, and he's the most compassionate historical figure in existence. So obviously you can't teach a history course without teaching Jesus. Okay, let me tell you something. I went kindergarten through senior year of high school in religious schools. You absolutely can teach history without even bringing religion into it, because my schools did, because there were separate classes for that. There are separate schools for this. You have religious Christian schools, you have public schools. And even in the private school that I went to, there were 3 theology classes, and then there were history classes.
Well, and what these movies fail to fucking recognize, because they're so busy being victims, is that the separation of church and state exists for a reason. So it's people of other faiths, even if it's just minor differences, or an entire faith altogether, or us atheists can still participate without that bias against us.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like the first one, where if you took this same situation and this teacher was in class like bringing up some other religion, whether maybe she was bringing up something Muslim or anything, like, the people who are praising the shit that goes on in this movie would be the first fucking people to have a fucking problem with that.
Yeah.
This is a movie in which one of the lines is Pat Boone, towards the beginning of the movie, says,
God, what was that fucking line?
It was like, that atheism, I mean, you can be happy and atheist, but you'll have no hope.
And the first and most important right is the right to believe.
Oh, did he say that?
Someone said that right in the beginning.
Oh.
That's when I told you I was ready to walk.
Oh, no way, man. I wanted to see how this ended.
Honestly, if there was any, like, if I had been fucking Peoples for this...
That wouldn't have happened.
The review would have been me getting in the car after 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Screaming at you through the camera for an hour, and then throwing the camera in a ditch and going home.
I guess I gotta take an Uber to Parkway and grab the camera so I can put up this 10 minutes of footage. You're about as mad as I was during Old Fashioned. I don't have that reaction to this movie because this movie is so pathetic. This movie is so pathetic to being downright precious.
These people are fucking insane. They're insane.
It's exactly the movie I thought it was going to be.
Me too, but still, it doesn't fucking excuse it.
No, of course not.
Batman v Superman was almost exactly the movie I thought it was going to be. Actually, it was a little bit worse than I thought it was going to be. It still doesn't fucking excuse it.
No, but this, unlike Batman v Superman, I doubt that there will be much disagreement on.
I hope there's just as much conversation
about this. Oh man, well, the audience we saw it with seemed to like it.
Yeah.
I can't even. This is like talking about War Room after going to see it. It's like there's so much batshit things that go on in this movie that I'm struggling to.
I can't wait for like 3 years from now when we find out the people that made this movie are been diddling kids the whole fucking time.
I hope that for several reasons. One, that's terrible, and two, I want to see more David A.R. White movies.
Well,
Jesus, man.
Well, he only produced it, right?
Well, he owns Pureflix.
You're right.
Or he's like the co-owner or something. Like, so yeah, he produced it. He produces all of the Pureflix movies. And he was on Evening Shade back in the day.
Oh. Jesus Christ.
What else is there?
Everything.
Are we okay? Like, there's all of these. Oh God! And by the closing argument in this, which this whole movie is totally just about brainwashing, and that in this movie they're literally just brainwashing the jury.
Yeah.
Like, they are getting it so far off course in all of these hypotheticals that by the end of it, when Jesse Metcalf is giving his closing argument, it almost turns into this, like, if footmen tire you situation, except without the blood and guts, where he is straight up suggesting that losing this case not only means that, okay, like, this is going to lead to faith being outlawed, and doing so via execution. He's suggesting that the government will execute you in the future, and this case is just a snowball effect that could lead to something like in Footmen where the kid gets his head cut off.
The subplot where they're collecting the...
What was that about? What did that have to do with anything?
I don't think it had anything to do with anything, but I think that the implication was that in this collection of ministers that meet for breakfast or something, they all get... they're informed that they're all getting that they've been subpoenaed
by Fred Dalton Thompson.
Yes. And that they have to turn in their last 3 months of sermons for review.
Why did they have to do that?
To some governing body, not a church body.
Yeah.
A state body. That the implication was that the government is going to censor what they can say during their church service.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was in there to be this whole rah-rah anti-government shit, where, yeah, the guy straight up is sitting there and saying, like, that's just that government trying to say what we can say in our churches. Like,
the government's not doing that. At all. Ever.
Well, I was glad that line was there because it was one of the many laugh-out-loud moments that I had in this movie.
Dude, like, I got some glares when people were leaving the theater.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
They didn't glare at me because they were busy texting.
Well, I also was not quiet about my disdain during this.
I was not quiet about the parts that I was laughing at.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off in this movie. Fuck, man. In the same way I did War. Like, fucking Pat Boone straight up has a scene in this that is pretty much the scene from War Room where she's like, yeah, devil, you done got your butt kicked. Pat Boone and his walker, like, pretty much just starts dancing whenever the verdict comes in. There was also the I guess school choir now that showed up in front of her house. They kind of set it up like there might be like a romance between Jesse Metcalfe and Melissa Joan Hart. Like at the beginning, they do the thing.
I think she was fucking Pat Boone.
I hope to God. Oh man, I fucking hope so. Like they sort of like Pat Boone, like he does the same thing that like the old lady in the first one did towards Mina, where he's like, still don't see a ring on that finger. And she's like, I'm working on it. So it's sort of like, okay, is she probably going to end up with Jesse Metcalfe or something? But no, in a movie like this, nothing like that ever happens. And something like, fuck, the romance movie from Pure Flix, the plot point was that they didn't kiss. So, of course, in something like this, there's not going to be a romantic subplot.
This movie was fucking disgusting.
The student in it is one of the Robertsons.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's the daughter of Willie Robertson from the first movie. Honestly, she didn't do that bad here, but she comes from a family of actors, so sure, she's fine. But still, nothing takes away from fucking vampire ass Ray Weiss just sneering and grinning. Like,
I love Ray Weiss. I don't know if Ray Weiss is in this movie because he's one of those crazy ass Christians.
Well, I mean, he's pretty religious in real life, I believe, but
he's such a great actor
he's creepier in this than he was as Leland Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like Mina's referenced by name in this, and Josh Whedon is referenced by name in the movie by the Chinese student. He's like, Josh Whedon said I should come here and learn more about Jesus. And then at the end, they do so many similar things in this movie that they do in the first one. Like it even ends again, like we said, with a Newsboys concert in which the plot of the movie becomes something that they talk about on stage. They straight up are he's like, our friend Amy says there's some shit that's going down.
Everybody prayed now.
Everyone pray, like our faith is being called into question. Like, fuck, man. At least it wasn't as tasteless as like in the first movie where fucking Willie ass Robertson comes on screen at the concert and is like, now there's a teacher down there who's arguing about Christianity and which was a scene that happened after Sorbo died.
Yeah.
This movie didn't have, like I said, there was a lot more, I think, shockingly hateful moments in the first movie.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But
this movie is, I don't even know. God damn, the concept of this movie. Part of me is trying to put my head in like a rational thought that made this movie. And that part of me is thinking like, why did they pick this as the plot of this movie when it is so fucking thin? You could poke holes in it left and right. And you can sit there and you can see how they are just brainwashing and diverting to other topics that have nothing to do with this. But then I also remember, like, it is not a rational fucking mind that made this movie. It is not made for an audience that is even going to see any of this shit, any of this bullshit that's on screen.
No, it's made for people that already have that view, that just want it reinforced. That even though they are the quote-unquote silent majority, that they are the victims of everyone else.
Well, not anymore. I think the end of this movie shows that the separation of church and state doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They're fucking protesting with, like, duct tape on their mouth and shit like that.
And and all the fucking protesters that are for the separation of church and state are just shown in every scene they're shown outside as the most hateful, villainous people.
It's the same thing on the poster.
Yeah.
The poster's the same exact way. The poster is one side, all the, like, God's not dead signs and stuff like that held up. And on the other sign, just, Bruce, God's dead. There's a separation between church and state. And it's like, fucking Christ, man. It's like, no one is the protesters in this movie have duct tapes on their mouths as if all of these hypotheticals in the movie are fucking true. That people are stopping them from being Christian. It's like, fucking hell, movie. Like, this is just about this fucking instance with this teacher in a public school talking about this subject, and god damn it.
That person, as a professional, whether of their faith or not, should fucking know better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like even... Like, I will say, like, they did a fine job of writing everything she said as a fucking gray area.
They did, yeah.
And if that was the extent of it, and this was a rational world, I'd go, yeah, that teacher probably didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But the teacher also, the day before, put herself in a position where, outside of school, privately, did preach to that same student.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the law is there.
There is no law there. I mean, that's an outside relationship, which, in my opinion, when teachers have outside of school relationships with their students, it's a little creepy anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think there was necessarily anything wrong there, but, like, in terms of what someone legally can do and can't do, but, like, it still gets called into question in this court case where they straight up ask the girl, like, did her preaching this to you and then also answering the question the way that she did in class then lead you to become a Christian? And so...
But a responsible professional, no matter what, when asked that question would go, you know what? That's not something I can discuss in a classroom setting.
No, yeah, totally. But
it's not that fucking hard to say that.
Yeah.
And do your job. Mm-hmm. You know?
And if you want, you know what? If you want to be, there are plenty of schools you can teach at where you can talk about what she wanted to talk about. But so much stuff is getting brought up in this case, and I'm agreeing with everything Ray Weiss is saying in the court. But then again, like, the writers paint themselves into a corner so much in this movie, because with the girl's testimony about how the question affected her and just the legal ins and outs of what happened, they paint themselves into a corner. So again, they have to scare the jury into thinking, oh, in the future someone's going to put a gun to your head and you can't believe anymore.
And the thing is, it's a courtroom movie written by people that have no concept of the law other than their fucking bias of being victimized, which they aren't in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, at the beginning of when you walked out to go use the restroom, one of his arguments, his opening statement was like, well, the separation of church and state's not in the Bill of Rights or anything like that, so I guess that means it doesn't exist.
Wait, okay, so fucking constitutionalists.
You missed a doozy.
Constitutionalists are fucking worse than goddamn right-wing crazy-ass Christians. Constitutionalists. It's a fucking living document. It was designed to be a living document.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ray Weiss really should have objected that. And Judge Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson, he was just there. Mm. And I throughout this entire movie, I just kept in my brain looking at the screen at every actor that isn't normally in one of these movies. Ernie Hudson, Ray Weiss, and like a lot of...
Ray Weiss has been in a few.
He's been in a few, but I wanted to look at like a lot of the... Just in my brain, I'm screaming, shut your fucking mouth! Because everybody in this movie is just like...
Well, Pat Boone's dancing ass
Yeah.
and
Who's the fucking Jesse Metcalf? Every time someone's on. That's his fucking listening face.
oh, and Melissa Joan Hart carried that cry face through all 2 hours of this movie.
Oh,
God damn, man.
this was a rough one, man. Just about a month from now, Captain America: Civil War.
Oh, you know what I'm looking forward to more than that? That little trailer we got in front of this, that Pure Flix Columbine movie.
Oh yeah! I'm so excited.
That's a thing that's coming out.
Yeah.
That I'm Not Ashamed, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Like, I'm in the, like, it took me,
Just fucking how dare you?
dude, it took
How
me like
dare you
30 seconds
make a
into
Christian
this.
propaganda film out of Columbine?
It took
How
me,
fucking dare you?
oh, I can't wait. I hope it's the first R-rated Pure Flix movie. Like, it'll be bloodier.
Fucking teenagers' heads getting shot off and shit while they pray.
The first half
While
of,
they pray.
oh yeah, the first half of it will be like one of these Pure Flix movies, and the last 20 minutes turns into Elephant. Wow! It took me like 30 seconds to realize what they were doing in this movie. When they kept mentioning Columbine, I went, oh no!
Yeah.
Like, I literally said that. I was like, oh man. So is it about the... Wasn't that a thing that was being said around the girl who was asked whether she believes in Jesus or not? Is that
I
what...
can't remember. Because you know what? That wasn't important. What was important...
But that was a thing that got passed around a lot.
Yeah.
That particular story. I can't tell if that's what this movie's about, if the girl in question is that particular instance, or... But I don't know, because it looked like there was a lot of stuff in the trailer that was taking place after the Columbine incident. So all I know is I hope to God that comes to Springfield. Man.
For my own amusement, so I can see pictures of the protests, I hope to God it goes to Columbine.
Oh, well, yeah. See how much balls David A.R. White has now. Oh, man.
Just the one. He's got a halo shaved into it.
Probably you've seen his haircut. It's got highlights down there, too.
Jesus Christ.
I hope he's in that movie, too. I hope he plays the principal.
I hope he's one of the shooters.
David A.R. White. Dude, man, like, you can't be playing teenagers anymore, man. Like, I know one of your most famous roles was Second Glance, but come on, man. I know you're trying to hide the fact you're like 5.
Oh,
So
fuck.
that's a movie that's coming out, but I forget when. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about with this movie. I honestly really do think that you could get a laugh out of this movie, because I sure as fuck did.
Yeah, but don't give...
No, I'm not saying go see it in theaters.
yeah.
I'm just saying, if me, you, Brian, and Sarah, and everyone sat around, like, at Brian's place and had some drinks and ordered some food, we would have a blast watching this.
You know what, though? This one, I would actually think we'd have a room of outrage.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is so stupid.
It's so stupid, but it's stupid to the point of, honestly, being offensive.
I've seen movies that offended me personally more than this, because, again, like I said, is this movie Of course it is. It's an ignorant-ass movie. But it is so stupid. And so, like, there's not anything that pissed me off, like, compared to stuff like an Old Fashioned, where he's training her to cut up baby food and things like that. Like, it didn't... But again, like, that's... I absolutely could see where this movie would... Yeah, of course I see where this movie could piss a lot of people off. Of course, totally. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible fucking movie. Me personally, like, I got a fucking laugh out of this. Like, I think that War Room probably had more offensive shit in it than this movie did.
No, for just like general, like, oh, that's offensive. Oh, that's offensive.
Yeah.
This offends me on a sensibility of. I don't even know how to describe the level it offends me at, but it
just it's offensive on the level of just being a good, a decent person.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it absolutely is. All of these pure
you know,
flicks
I
movies
don't
are.
know where these fucking people got through, but when I was in school, I had to take a test on the fucking Constitution, and if I didn't pass it, I didn't get to leave high school.
Oh yeah, so did we.
Did they not have to take that test?
I don't know. I think David A.R. White may have been homeschooled.
I think he might have been.
This is the same guy who, when he got a job on Evening Shade, he had no idea who Burt Reynolds was. Like, hell yeah, I've seen some David A.R. White interviews. Fuck yeah. So, okay, I'm stammering right now. I'm sorry. This movie has honestly left me feeling kind of stupid. So I'm kind of stuttering a little bit. But to go off of what you're saying right there, absolutely, this movie is, if you're the kind of person who believes that, like, yeah, people should just live and let live. If you want to, you know, you can be whatever faith you want to be. That's totally cool, man. That's fine. Like, if it's something that's great for you and it's great for your life and it makes you feel like a better person, totally.
No, yeah.
Have like, it's fine. Like, you don't need my permission for that. You don't need anybody's permission for that.
As long as it doesn't hurt or negatively affect anyone else.
Uh-huh.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a person of faith, but I you know, the strongest arguments of faith that I've ever heard come from people that keep their faith private. Mm-hmm. So shit like this I find perplexing.
And I can't wait until I can't wait until the next ones come out. You think there's going to be a God's Not Dead 3?
I hope not.
This movie might do well. I mean, the first one did well.
Let's see. The first one, they went to a concert. The second one, they went to court. The third one, what are they going to do? They're going to go to fucking Atlantis?
No, I hope they go to space. It's space. No one can hear you pray.
Dude, I mean, you know, they might not believe in space.
I don't say that. I'm going to get messages on Tumblr again from like...
How old is Earth?
Dude, I had somebody on Tumblr getting mad at me because they believe the Earth is flat. Yeah, I was confused.
Okay,
I thought it was 2016.
You know what? Like, the people that made this movie are irresponsible. Anybody, blanket statement, I don't give a fuck who I offend. Anybody who believes the Earth is flat needs to be taken in an alley and shot in the back of the fucking head. And you know why? Because that's how we make the species stronger. Fucking wipe those people out.
Damn it, man. I'm gonna miss getting those Tumblr messages.
Fucking send them to me.
All
Let
right.
me respond.
Hell yeah.
And every response is going to go, look at a picture of the Earth.
Oh, but that's like planet and shit, you know, like blah blah, conspiracy, NASA, horse shit, blah blah.
Okay, put a camera on a balloon. Let it go in the air. Retrieve your footage and look at the curvature of the Earth.
I hope the people who are more mad about this in the comments.
I hope there are.
I have a surprisingly amount of flat earthers in the crowd.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Jesus.
Alright, well, I forget what's coming out next week. I think the other thing that came out this weekend is Meet the Blacks. I don't know if I'll get around to seeing that because this movie was top fucking priority. Fuck.
Meet the Blacks is that a Tyler Perry movie?
No.
Okay.
It's a spoof of The Purge.
Is it really?
Yeah, with Mike Epps.
Wait, Meet the Blacks is a spoof of The Purge?
Yeah, I was surprised too.
It doesn't seem like it's been marketed that way.
The poster and stuff, not so much, but the trailer, yeah, I got the trailer for that in front of The Perfect Match.
Wow.
So, I might try to make time to see that. I don't know. I gotta sleep this movie off.
I gotta drink this movie off.
Yeah. See it.